everyone. Welcome to this week's 3 Things I Learned Last Week. Week 5, here we go. I'm so excited to be doing this even more. I thought when I started this a few weeks ago that it was maybe going to last a couple weeks. We would see what happens, but I'm getting great feedback from it. Thank you. Keep the comments coming. Keep the encouragement coming. I really appreciate it. I have a lot that I want to talk to you about today, but as I always do at the beginning of this, I want to just tell anybody who's joining for the first time who I am and what I'm all about. So my name is Robin Addis. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer at Legal Internet Solutions Incorporated. We are a digital marketing agency that specializes in law firms and legal services providers. We're based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I lead a team of really outstanding former practicing attorneys and former in-house legal marketing professionals who do great work for our clients at law firms and, again, at agencies that work with law firms. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm going to put my contact information up here. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Feel free to send me a direct message. I'd love to hear from you. Today's show is a little bit different than what I advertised I was going to be about. I wanted to talk today about the journey that I'm taking getting more involved on Instagram. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's actually a sort of fundamental layer that we need to talk about first, which I am also going through that journey as well, figuring out how to sort of build that omnipresent digital footprint. And we'll talk more about what that means. So, sneak preview, next week, I want to talk all about Instagram, all about how to create your profile, how to make it look fantastic, and how to develop content based on what we talk about today that would be useful in Instagram. And this really qualifies as 3 things I'm learning right now because I'm genuinely just getting involved in this right now and I'm learning so much about it in real time. So you will all benefit from what I'm learning. The other thing I'm going to talk about today is creating content for your audience. Following the survey that I put out on my LinkedIn profile last week, I want to share the results of that survey and talk about, how you can understand what your audience is looking for and create different types of content for your audience. And finally, I want to talk about my recent experience with a speech coaching session, some things that I learned that I found really super interesting, and just talk to you about ways that you might be able to enhance your own public speaking. So getting started, building an omnipresent digital footprint. I heard this term, honestly, just in the past week or so. I think Business to Community, it is a website, a blog aggregator that I read. I get the daily updates from. And one of the top articles in the past couple of days was, how to build an online presence authentically and not buy followers. And within that article, the author talked about this omnipresent digital presence. And I thought that was just so spot on, because the challenge with social media, blogs, videos, all the things that we're all doing to be present online is that they all have to be, sort of have to be visible everywhere that makes sense for your audience. That doesn't literally mean everywhere, but you have to be visible consistently and continuously for your audience across multiple channels. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. So starting to think about this, when you're starting to figure out how you want to promote your personal brand, because it all comes back to personal branding. I really thought long and hard about this, and I came up with, the 5 W's. Who are you? What makes you different? When is the right time for you to post? And we'll talk about that a little bit as we talk about different platforms. Where do you post? Because again, not every platform makes sense for you. You might be a prolific writer, but you hate being on video. So YouTube's probably not going to be the thing for you, or native LinkedIn video is not going to be the thing for you. That's okay. Just because video is so popular right now, that doesn't mean if you don't do it, you're, SOL. You're going to be okay. Just figure out what works for you. Here's the thing that I care about most in this list. What is your why? What is your authentic reason for posting and for building your personal brand? That your personal brand is essentially built upon? What is that foundation? Because everything else falls into line from there. If you don't have that personal brand foundation, your why, everything else, people are going to know that you're not being authentic. So you have to start there. And then lastly, how do you do it? So we can talk a little bit about that. Oops, one too far. So we can talk about that a little bit in terms of defining who you are. So I've talked about this on here before. My why is really closely aligned with my content pillars. My content pillars are digital marketing, women supporting women, and leadership. Those are three things that I care very, very deeply about. Largely in part because of experiences I've had through my career with good and bad leadership, with positive and negative experiences with other women professionally, and just things that I get really excited about when it comes to digital marketing. I am where I am for a reason. I am excited and super nerdy, to be truthful, about the things that we do at Lisi. So those are the things that drive me, that fuel me, that get me excited, to get out of bed Monday through Friday and get to work or talk to people or, whatever the case might be. So that's my why. And again, that aligns very closely with my content pillars for a reason. So what is your why? What is your authentic story? What is it that you bring to the table that you care very, very deeply about? You can get passionate about, nerdy about, really deeply immersed in that topic and talk to anybody who's willing to listen about that topic or those topics. That's your why. So start with your why and then connect the who you are, your story, to that why, and start to then think about, okay, what audiences is this going to resonate with, or what audiences do I want to get in front of, and how do I want to tell that story, my why, for those audiences. And that's when we start to think about where you actually want to be present. So just talking about different social media platforms, there's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Clubhouse. Of course, there's others like TikTok. And I'm just going to give a quick rundown. You probably all already know all of these things, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of I'm going to call it the top 5 platforms, in my opinion, and what they're really valuable for. So Twitter is news aggregator, quick, late breaking, 15 minutes of fame is what I always say. I am not personally on Twitter because I am on Twitter, but I'm not super active on Twitter. I'm more of a lurker on Twitter. I'm seeing what news outlets, celebrities, famous people, whatever kind of large media outlets are posting, and I'm sort of getting my news from there, to be perfectly honest. There are plenty of syndicators that put forward blog posts and other relevant content on there as well. I'm just not... I don't want to be so fast that I am so active on Twitter. So it's just not the right platform for me to be outwardly active on. So food for thought, because Twitter might not be the right platform for you either. Facebook, my professional opinion is Facebook is depending on your audience, it may or may not be the right platform for you. Facebook has become a little bit of a battleground for a lot of reasons, politically and culturally and socially and all of those things. So, Facebook, again, my Facebook is very, very private. It's locked down, not really intended for public consumption, but it's there for me to connect with family and friends. If you are selling products, if you are selling things that people can make impulse buying decisions on, Facebook and Instagram and things like that, great for you. But Facebook is probably not necessarily in my opinion, the business to business space. Instagram, like I said earlier, I'm learning a lot about Instagram. It is a great platform for sort of showing the softer side. So my intention with Instagram, and we'll talk about this more next week, is, my LinkedIn presence is I try to be this professional, put together, badass woman on LinkedIn. And then Instagram, I intend to sort of show the other side, the softer side, the mom side, the person who's, sometimes burning the candle at both ends, the person who's choosing to put work down to be with my family. That's what my Instagram presence is really intended to be about. Clubhouse is a relatively new. I think it's about a year old, maybe 18 months old at this point. It was largely invitation only. While I think it might even still be in beta phase, it is open to Android users as of March of this year. It was originally only open to Apple users, and it is a completely different type of social media platform. It's for audio. You go onto Clubhouse, you can enter a room, you can listen to 2 people or 10 people or 200 people talking about a topic and having a conversation, usually hosted and moderated by hosts. And then they can invite people up on stage to ask questions or participate in the conversation. There's no messaging, written messaging, or anything like that. It's just a place. I consider it the world's greatest 24/7 conference. I've listened to it while I'm grocery shopping or taking a run or doing something like that. And I'm learning things about digital media, women supporting women, and leadership, because those are the things that I'm passionate about. There are other platforms out there. I'm not going to pretend to get into talking to you about TikTok marketing or anything like that. Those are just platforms I haven't even dived into yet, and I don't necessarily feel are the business to business space appropriate quite yet, but maybe, I don't know, I could be wrong. I was not an Instagram believer a few years ago, and look at me now, here I go. The thing that's really important when you're on any of these platforms is making sure that you put all the pieces together so people know where else to find you. And I'll talk more about this next week, but my colleague, Kristen Brophy, turned me onto this really awesome tool called Linktree. And on Linktree, you can basically put on your Instagram bio a link to this Linktree where you can put all sorts of relevant links about yourself. So somebody can go straight to your Instagram bio or any of your social media profile bios and see your link and your Linktree link, and then see the individual links that you put in there. So if you have a podcast, if you have a blog, if you have an e-commerce store, if you have a really newsworthy piece of content you want to put right up at the top so people see it, you can put those things in Linktree. Like I said, we'll talk more about that next week because it was pretty cool to dive into Linktree, and I want to share it with you. So related to all of this, so we talked about the platform to be on and how to maybe build this omnipresent digital footprint, figuring out which platforms to be on and how to sort of cross-pollinate between them. But then you also have to figure out how to generate content that your audience wants to engage with or consume. So last week I put out this survey on LinkedIn, and you're limited to 4 survey responses in the LinkedIn survey. So I actually am considering putting out a slightly longer form survey because I really want to dig into what you all want to hear me talking about more. So I asked, what content do you want to see more of? I put out a crowdsourcing post. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Digital marketing trends, 34%. Professional women's issues, 23%. Interestingly, legal marketing industry was the lowest at 14%. And content generation at 29%. So interesting to me, digital marketing trends and content generation. I'm not surprised. It sort of validated what I suspected people wanted to hear more about. So in that vein, I'm going to talk a little bit about content generation. So here's a list of 10 different types of content that you can produce. And I want to tell you that everybody I talk to that's just getting started on LinkedIn or Instagram or blogs or whatever, or videos, whatever the case might be, the number one complaint / roadblock I encounter is it's so hard to produce all this content. It's so hard to come up with things to talk about. And I get that. It can be time consuming, but the more that you do it, the more that you sort of get into the rhythm of it. It's like exercise. You flex that muscle, you get it used to it, and you are able to do it more and more. So really quickly, I'm just going to run through this. When a listicle is maybe a blog article that is a list of top 10 things about X, 9 ways to build a digital content strategy, 7 ways to be an ally for women supporting women, things like that. Those are search engine gold, especially if you look at, let's say you're going to write an article and you see 21 XYZ, whatever your content topic is, then really what you should do is write an article that says 24 or 27 or whatever, some larger number, and come up with more things to talk about. Don't just arbitrarily add more things to it, but try and sort of beat it, because the human nature in us all is that if we see 21 versus 27, tips on X, Y, and Z. We're going to go for 27 because we want to get all the tips. So listicles are really great. You'll see a lot of my written content is very listicle based because I'm able to do two things with it. One, I give people a whole list of things that they can do and implement things that work for them. But then you can take each of those smaller chunks, each of those, number one, number two, number three, and those can be short form microblogging posts on various social platforms, or they're that evergreen content that you can keep posting about those individual things and drive them back to your main blog. So make it easy for yourself, come up with a way that you have a main piece, an anchor piece, and then you can keep driving people back to that. I think humor is a great way to engage with your audience. People like to laugh. If you can make people laugh, they're going to remember you. So sometimes it might be a funny cartoon, or sometimes it might be a funny video or a GIF or whatever the case might be. But don't be afraid to inject humor into your content. Guides, again, checklists and how-tos and things like that. This is the type of content that people are really looking for. And so make that available, even for sophisticated audiences. When I was writing this list, I was in my head hearing an objection. Well, my audience is, very sophisticated buyers of legal services. I totally believe that. And the thing is, everybody likes some help figuring out how to do their job. I was talking with a friend in the research field last week talking about, be the GC to the GC, general counsel to the general counsel. That's what general counsel are asking their outside legal providers to be. And so that means they want you to tell them what's coming down the horizon. What are the things that they should be on the lookout for? What are the 10 things they should know? That's what these guides are about. So I might be oversimplifying it by saying, a checklist or whatever, but there are ways to take sophisticated topics and make guides and resources out of those too. Also really important in terms of content generation, personal stories. You don't have to, expose your entire personal life out into the internet. I'm not suggesting that, but make yourself accessible. Make your story relatable, and somehow tying in your personal life, your authentic self, really resonates with people. People want to feel like they're not just interacting with some bot or some fake account on social media. They want to be interacting with a real person. So personal stories really help them. It's that sort of social proof that you are a real person. Commentary on things that are going on, certainly useful. If it's overly timely, it might be something that's not super evergreen. So just be aware of that. Inspiration, this kind of inspiration and quotes could fall into maybe the same category, but motivational things that you're doing, quotes from people who inspire you. Just, again, I'm not saying fill your content calendar with tons of fluff, if that's what you want to call it, but these things help sort of round out your digital presence, that omnipresent digital presence. And then the last three things. So, like I said, you are really uncomfortable with video. If you are really uncomfortable with audio, I get it. I'm not going to tell you that you need to do those things right now, but I am going to say that video and audio are very, very popular. And audio in particular, if you watched last week's live, audio in particular is really, I think, resurging as a popular platform because people are able to do it. They're multitasking. They're able to do it while, listen to a podcast while they take a run. They're able to listen to a conversation while they're driving their kids to sports or whatever the case might be. So don't convince yourself that these methods, these tactics are not the right way for you. I urge you to give them a try. You might not love it. You might discover a passion for it, whatever the case may be. Give them a try. And then live, here I am on LinkedIn Live. I'm also broadcasting to the Lisi Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Live is a great way to get content. Now I have these 5 videos now. I can take each of these, chop them up into audiograms, which we talked about on the first episode, or I can chop them up into small bite-sized videos or podcasts and just repurpose this content, repurpose. So when you're thinking of how to create the content, you figure out what your why is, you figure out the types of content you want to produce, and then here's the how you produce it. These are all the different, not all of them, but these are many different methods that you can use to produce content. Then the last thing, I just want to share a little bit about my recent experience with speech coaching. So here I am on LinkedIn Live, and I speak frequently. I am a frequent podcast guest. I am very comfortable speaking publicly at this point in my career. But I thought I could get better. So I reached out to my team, and actually my colleague Ann Caskey connected me with a friend of hers from law school, maybe, or university over in Ireland, Sinead Looney. And I'll put a link to her bio in the comments of this when I finish up this video. But Sinead is actually based in Northern Ireland, and she conducted a speech coaching workshop for me where we sat together for 2 hours. She gave me all sorts of exercises and things to think about in terms of my speaking and my speak pattern. A couple of the things that I thought that were really, really interesting. She said something, actually, I should have said this at the very beginning. She said something that really resonated with me at the beginning of the coaching session. Words are the most powerful drug used by mankind. And that is a quote from Rudyard Kipling. I thought that quote was just so encapsulated sort of what it was about speech coaching that I was seeking. I wanted to be able to engage people with my speaking. I want to be able to, for people to leave one of my presentations feeling inspired and feeling motivated and feeling like they're really connected with me. And so that's really where this all started, trying to like take my speaking to the next level. So a couple of quick tips that I got from Sinead that might be helpful for you. Just think about this. Talk at a pace that is slower than your normal speaking voice. If you watched 2 episodes ago, you will see my normal speaking voice, which is a mile a minute, speaking pace, which is a mile a minute. This is me trying to speak slower than my normal speaking pace. I probably could even slow it down a little bit more. One thing that I found really interesting was when Sinead suggested that we try to deepen our tone of voice because deeper voices engender a feeling of trustworthiness. I found that so fascinating. And I've really, ever since she and I met, tried to listen to speakers and newscasters and whoever the case might be, and listen to their tone of voice, male and female, and see if it feels like the deeper voice feels more trustworthy. Jury's out on that one yet, but I do think that's an interesting tip. Couple other quick things. If you've ever done singing or choir or chorus or anything, you might be familiar with this, but your head voice and your chest voice. So your head voice is that, like, you feel it in your nose when you're talking. Your chest voice is you feel that resonation in your chest when you're talking. And so speaking from your chest voice gives you the projection and gives you the air and the wind that you need to actually sustain your speaking for quite some time. Also, and the last thing I will share with this, because it was really interesting to me that I had never thought about this before, make sure that the ending is slightly louder than the rest. So if you trail off and you just sort of end your sentence lightly, people don't really know if you've ended your sentence. But if you end your sentence just a little bit louder than the rest, or if you end your point a little bit louder than the rest of what you're saying, then it feels like a punctuation mark on your speaking. So I thought that was really great advice. I really enjoyed my session with Sinead. Like I said, I'm going to post a link to her LinkedIn bio in the comment section after this video. Next week, all about Instagram. I am by no means an expert. I am learning. That is truly the theme of this show. These are things that I am learning in real time, and I'm sharing with you what I'm learning because I'm excited about what I'm learning. If you have any questions in advance, please feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a great one.